Welcome back to a new episode of the Crew Review for You.
Yeehaw.
I'm just going to start saying that every time because it sounds great. Kinley said it like 2 episodes ago, and I was like, that's golden. Let's just keep using that.
Solid.
You can have it for free.
Thanks.
Right.
That's awesome. That's what friends
Nice
are for.
birthday wish.
Yeah. So during this episode, Kinley has had a birthday since the last one.
Yes.
Hit the big 2-7.
2-7.
I almost said 2-8, and I was like, that's not right.
That's right. I feel really old.
So he's really old.
Congrats.
He's an old man. He's getting married tomorrow.
I'm getting married in the morning.
That's a real song?
That's a real song.
What's that from?
My Fair Lady.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
That's funny.
We'll have to play that song for you.
Okay.
It's her dad getting married, and he's old, and he sings in the street, and it's wonderful.
To get me to the church on time.
I really wanted to finish it.
I did.
You jump back in it so quick. That's great. So as y'all know, we are doing this series of favorite movies, and we started with Kinley's last week, being Mean Girls, and we announced that this episode we are doing Jennifer's favorite, which is The Princess Bride. What year did that come out?
I don't know.
87.
87.
Yeah.
So,
Guessed.
a nice classic movie for y'all.
Classic.
I'm going to pull it up on IMDb in case I need to look up facts during this time. But anyway, that is the movie we're doing, and let's roll with it. Beth, before we talk to you, I want everyone to know that we're in that spoiler zone.
Spoilers.
We're talking spoilers
Every time.
Every time.
It's
I love
okay.
It. But it's just a good
If
reminder.
you like that.
We love to spoil all the things. So
So get over it.
if you hang out
If
with
you
us,
haven't seen this
if you haven't
movie
seen it by now,
it's
Come on.
33
What's
years
wrong
old,
with you?
so-
That's all I
and
have
it's a
to
true
say.
classic.
No
so
excuses.
you know.
No excuses.
Another, well, I'll let you give the synopsis, but I would say another cult classic, wouldn't you say? Kind of cult following movie.
Oh yeah, definitely
Yeah.
a cult classic for
So
sure.
we're kind of hitting those. So anyway.
All right, Beth, hit it.
Okay, so Princess Bride is a story of the true love of Princess Buttercup and farm boy Wesley. He also is known as the Dread Pirate Roberts through part of this film. So farm boy sails off to sea, and his ship is captured by the Dread Pirate Roberts. And so Buttercup is very sad that her true love has died, and in her mourning agrees to marry Prince Humperdinck, even though she says, I don't love you, my true love has died, but I will marry you. So after their engagement is announced, she's kidnapped by 3 bandits. They are taking her away for some ransom money, hoping to stir the pot between some neighboring kingdoms. And then they notice that a ship is following them, and that there's this man in a black mask who's following them, and he chases them up a cliff. And so they end up having a bunch of duels or showdowns. So first, the man in the black mask battles Inigo Montoya. And they do a nice little fencing match. He defeats Inigo, but he does not kill him. He moves on to Physique, and they do a little wrestling match. Again, he defeats him, but does not kill him. Then we get to the Battle of Wits with Vizian, and they basically have a glass with poison. Whose glass is poisoned and which one isn't? And so through the Battle of Wits, Wesley wins because, joke's on you, they were both poisoned. Ultimate trump card. He has developed a
Ultimate trump card.
a tolerance for poison. Like, I wouldn't recommend that. It didn't work out well for President Snow and Hunger Games either.
Nope,
So
didn't.
don't try that method at home. But he rescues Buttercup. She realizes he is the Dread Pirate Roberts. And then she finds out it's Wesley, her true love. They escape off into the swamp forest, battle, sinking sand and exploding. Lightning sand, sorry, all the things. Things that blow up, rodents of unusual size. They make it through and are run into Prince Humperdinck. And so in order to save Wesley's life, she says, I'll marry you, just let him live. Prince Humperdinck says, sure, I'll let him live. But then he tortures him till he's nearly dead. Not dead, but nearly dead. By this time, Inigo Montoya and Physique have realized the other guy's dead. They need a leader. Let's go find Wesley. Also, I want revenge. So they save Wesley. Birch is a miracle. He comes back to life in a very weird, strange way. And then they take on Prince Humperdinck to save Princess Buttercup. So we have the ultimate vengeance of Inigo Montoya's father and all the things. So we'll get into the quotes and everything. But ultimately, they win. Prince Humperdinck doesn't. And they ride off into the sunset and live there happily ever after with true love's kiss. Our classic fairy tale.
Solid.
There it is.
There it is.
We're done. Good job, guys.
So,
Just kidding.
Jennifer, this is your favorite movie.
Yes.
Why? Why do you love this movie so much?
So I didn't see this movie until, I want to say either late high school or college. My dad introduced it to me. And he said, you need to watch this movie. You're old enough. It's okay now. I'm like, okay, great. Watched it, fell in love with it immediately. And he and I would just quote it back and forth to each other, like, all the time. I just love it because it literally has everything the grandfather describes at the beginning of the movie. It's got romance, it's got adventure, it's got sword fighting, it's got humor. Anything you can possibly want in a movie, it's got it in there for you. And I just adored it, mainly because it had all of that aspects of it. But the humor piece of it, even when the more serious moments, like there's humor like all throughout this movie, and you can't help but not laugh at what's going on in the movie. And I just love it so much. It makes me happy.
So if you had to pick a favorite scene in this movie, which would be your favorite?
I had to list them out because I could only pick.
I could only pick 12 of them.
I could only pick all of them. I did narrow it down to 3.
Okay. Top
scenes.
3.
So I
Are
really.
these in order from like any? Are these in any order? Or are they just
It was hard enough for me to just pick these 3, so
Okay.
I'm gonna say they're not
Just
in
her
any
top
order.
3.
top 3? I
Top
like
3
it.
in
Top 3
general.
moments.
So one of them was the pun exchange between Physique and Inigo Montoya on the boat. And they are just rhyming with each other, and they are totally pissing the zini off extremely because they keep rhyming words back and forth, little phrases back and forth to each other. And it's just so great. I love that. I like puns, so that's a great scene for me. The other one that I liked was when they went to go see Miracle Max.
Yes.
Miracle Max. That was great when they went to go get the miracle pill for Wesley. The chocolate coating helps it slide down. I love that song.
I mean, who doesn't want a miracle covered in chocolate?
It's huge. That's part of the joke of it too. The pill is like this big,
After
y'all.
he's painting the chocolate on.
Yeah.
Painting it with
Chocolate
a
coating
brush.
helps it go down.
It's like we didn't dip it. It's like, let's make a little artwork, but it still looks like a brown blob.
It's
It's
a
like
nice-
a brownie bite to me is what it looks like. And
It
it's
did
a
look like a little
pill.
bite. You know who his wife is? The actress is Carol Kane, who plays Lillian on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Ah.
Lillian! Which is what I
Yeah.
love saying.
Run,
So I didn't
Lillian.
catch
Run,
that.
Lillian!
I liked her character in this movie. She was very sassy.
So what was the third scene?
The third of my favorite was the adventure through the fire swamp. All of the fire swamp, from the fire that shoots up out of the swamp to the rodents of unusual size to the lightning sand. It's like, lady, can you just like get your act together and hurry and get through the swamp? But she couldn't. She couldn't do that. I just really enjoyed the action in that part.
She was a little needy.
She was very needy.
Yeah.
To be so strong and independent as she was at the beginning of the movie, and then she was like really needy once Wesley was there. She's like, oh, Wesley, he'll protect me. You still got to use common sense.
Well, watching it again, I was like, yeah, she's getting on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her in a few years. I was like, she's kind of an annoying character.
She
I
is.
still love her, but
I mean, you want them to be together because they are each other's true love, but she needs a little bit more of a backbone.
and dramatic, which I appreciated. But anyway, you know, so something I noticed when we were watching this, his name isn't Wesley, it's Westley,
Wesley.
Yeah.
with a T.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I had
it
never
is.
noticed that. So
it is.
Wesley,
Yeah.
She sounds like Wesley.
Wesley.
Interesting.
Wesley.
Yes.
My favorite scene was probably when Vizzini does the whole Battle of the Wits. Just the way he dies. It gets me every time.
Well, obviously, I cannot hear the one in front of you.
Yeah. Just like, ha 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 ha. And it just falls over. That's like my favorite part. It gets me every time.
I do love how he just like reasons both sides back and forth, trying to get like some read off of him.
It just keeps going. But a close second is just the whole scene when Inigo Montoya and Westley battle on the cliff.
Yes.
Like that whole scene, just them back and forth talking, it was just so funny. So that's a close second. But I love the Vizzini scene. So
Yeah, Vizzini is a solid. I love it.
what's your favorite scene?
So I love when he gets he avenges his father, and he just says his name over and over again, and he's like been sliced up pretty good. He's bleeding out quite a bit, but the man rallies, and vengeance is strong. Vengeance is strong for him.
Well, he gets a little dagger in his stomach,
Yeah.
which let me just tell you,
A little, like,
tiny little thing. You put a dagger, because it was in his shoe.
Yeah.
You stick a dagger in my stomach, it ain't touching any organ, which is why I am the way that I am. All right? Protection, folks. There you go. But it wasn't that big of a deal. There was so much blood. There was so much blood. And then he comes after him to like stab him in the heart, and he kind of swords him off. And I had never noticed how it does it, but he stabs him in the arm here, and then the same thing, he kind
On the other
of
side.
still stabs him in the arm. And it's so much blood.
it's a lot.
It's so much blood. We like blood and gore, though.
I mean, you know,
I'm okay with it.
I
I
looks
just,
directly at Beth. You like blood.
it's, you know, it's true. I was just like, I don't know if this is a realistic amount, but it's
no,
fine.
I just thought it was funny. The little dagger almost killed him, and then the more he got stabbed, the more energy
more
he
he-
got.
yeah.
Like, here we go. But he was avenging his father. He
Yeah.
was feeling it.
the spirit of vengeance.
All the
strong.
blood reminds me of all of our favorite shows, Santa Clarita Diet.
Santa Clarita
and how
Diet.
much blood, it's like way over the top how much is
So much blood.
but I mean it's part of the comedic effect of it, but it's just like anytime someone gets injured, it's like 10 times more blood than you would ever see coming out of a person.
And how immediate it was.
Yeah, it's
too.
just like-
as soon as he got stabbed, like it was already had come down 3 inches from the wound. It's
Yeah.
great.
Which, while we've mentioned Santa Clarita Diet, please go watch it on Netflix and then write Netflix and tell them that we want a season 3 or 4. Sign the
Yeah. Yes.
petition. Sign the
So-
petition. Because we want to see it again. We
Exactly.
miss it.
That's a great
Exactly.
show.
Or is it season 4? How many seasons were there?
Oh,
There were 3.
there were 3.
Yeah.
That's
We want a
right.
season
We
4.
want a 4th
What
and they
if it's
canceled it. So
4?
we would like a
Livid.
4 through 10
It's good
to start.
to start for the first
Just
round.
another 6
Yeah.
for the first round.
You could take a break for a few years, come back for the remaining
reunion.
10,
Yeah.
the 20,
Absolutely.
Yeah, do
Cool.
like a reunion,
Yeah.
a reboot.
something.
We're
something.
fine with that.
Spin-offs, everything. I'm here for it. So Princess Bride.
What about you? Favorite scene?
Favorite scene, and I just love. I guess there would be 3 different scenes, but it's when he quote battles Inigo, Vizzini, or Physique and
Vizzini.
Vizzini.
Yeah.
I mix those 2 together. I love that whole
Vizzini.
little part because, you know, he's showing you kind of how, you know, he can handle the sword, he can handle the strength, he can handle the mind.
Yeah.
And that's just those 3 sandwiched together are really good. And I like his little. I think John was mentioning this, but his little conversation with Inigo. When he's even climbing up the rocks, you know. And my favorite part about that is they just have a witty little banter back and forth, and then he says, "Is there anything I can say to, help you trust that if I give you this rope, I won't drop you out of it?" He goes, "No, not really." He says, "I swear on the grave of my father." He goes, "Throw me the rope," like that. That got it. He knew it. But I also think he was really tired and about to fall. So
Yeah.
Well, like, and before that, he goes, like, "I give you my word as a Spaniard." And he's like, "Nope, I know too many Spaniards."
I know too many Spaniards. Which brought up one of my notes. I thought it was interesting. I never noticed, but it's a fake country. What's it called again?
Honestly, don't remember.
That sounded great.
Not Fjorn. That was from
Florin?
Florin.
Yes.
The Fjorn was that thing on Frozen 2
Yes.
that got flooded. Okay. Florin and and Gilder was the
Yes.
other country. So we've got 2 made-up countries. And I've always thought this was more of kind of like the magical enchanted land. But throughout this movie, we mention Spain, Greenland, Australia, Asia, and Sicily, which I thought was interesting. So
That's up there with Genovia.
there what you know. Yeah. So, but that was one of my favorite favorite lines when Vizzini mentions Greenland because he's on the boat with Physique, and he's like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but where I found you alone in Greenland. I'm like, oh, okay.
Somebody's bitter.
Unemployed.
Unemployed, that was it.
Unemployed.
In Greenland. That was the best. So that was good. That was
so
good.
great.
And through those three scenes, I wrote down a few quotes that I really liked. That would be, to me, my favorite part of the movie. And later, like early in life, I didn't realize how really soon that happens in the movie. When you think of The Princess Bride, when I think of The Princess Bride, I focus on those parts. But Vizzini's only in it for a brief time. I mean, we're just, 30, 45 minutes into the movie.
But he's such an
and he's
iconic
dead.
character.
So he is, because he says inconceivable about 900 times throughout, which I love.
How many times does he say it?
Inconceivable.
I
He
should
kept
look
saying
that
it
up.
over and over again on the boat. It is 100% inconceivable. Like, all right. But a couple good quotes they had when Vizzini, Inigo, and Physique kind of split, and Inigo's staying back, and he's climbing the rock. And Physique says something about people in masks cannot be trusted, and I was like, well, Corona, so that's not great. And then later on, Wesley says something about I love masks, everyone will be wearing them in the future, and I was like,
Fortune.
wow.
Fortune
Calling
teller.
it. So that was just some fun parts. I enjoyed it.
Never trust a man in the mask.
Never trust a man in a mask. So,
Yeah. Jennifer.
So that was your favorite quote? Or one of your favorite quotes?
those are my favorite quotes, and they were in my favorite scenes. Those three kind of
Okay.
scenes back
Yeah.
to back. That whole battle of the brawn, the sword, and the brain. So
Okay. What about you? Quotes? Or quote?
Again, had to write it down because I couldn't narrow it down. The inconceivable line is so funny, but I love it when Inigo Montoya is like, you keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Sounds good.
You got him. That's right. Back in when they go to visit Miracle Max, and he's like, we're in an awful hurry. And Miracle Max goes, don't rush a miracle man, Sonny. You get rotten miracles. Like, and this is like, well, okay, that's true. I can do that. Also, when how do I keep forgetting how to pronounce his name?
Which one?
I know how to
Inigo
do it.
Montoya?
Yeah, Inigo Montoya was talking to Wesley about, they had that heart-to-heart right before they had their battle scene. And he said, well, this is why I'm doing this, and because I'm trying to revenge my father, and there's not a lot of money in revenge, so I'm doing this as there's not a lot of money in revenge. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. I don't think I picked
He says,
up
I'm
on
doing
that
this to
one
pay the
before."
bills.
Yeah, to pay the bills.
That's so great.
And then last one,
kidnapping on the side.
when Wesley looks at, I forget who he looks at, baby brain, y'all. I think he looks at Buttercup and he's like, life is pain, princess. Anyone who says otherwise is selling something. And I was like, huh, interesting.
Very interesting.
It's not a funny one, but I was like, I kind of like that. Interesting viewpoint. But those are some of my favorites. Not all of them. There's not an inclusive list. It's just some.
a lot of good quotes.
All of
this
them in the
one, too.
movie.
All of the movies really
What are,
quotable
your,
to
what are your
me.
top 100 quotes?
I would quote like half the movie. Like literally, I would.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that in the slightest.
John, what about you? Favorite quotes?
I really only had one that was like my favorite, and it was when, what's the king's name or prince or whatever?
Prince
Humperdinck.
Humperdinck.
Humperdinck, yeah. When he was like, he pulls up to Wesley and he's like, surrender, and then Wesley's like, you mean you surrender to me? Very well, I accept. I thought it was so funny.
I love the sass of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sass in this.
Oh
movie.
yeah. there
I'm
is.
trying to figure out how I could incorporate that in everyday life.
What about you, Beth?
Sadly, no one's surrendered to me yet, so we'll work on it.
That's funny.
I don't know. Like, there's so many good quotes in this movie. So many. I do. I mean, As You Wish is a classic, but I think the one that I latch onto the most is when Buttercup is dreaming and she's having this dream that she's marrying Prince Humperdinck, and they're at the wedding, and this like really creepy old lady comes out of the crowd and is like, "Boo! Boo! You had true love!" And literally, anytime someone says "boo," that's like what goes through my head. Like,
Queen of Filth
Yes.
and putrescence.
yeah, like it's just
I say
literally.
that way too much.
You really do.
You've said it so much that I've forgotten where it came
came
from.
from.
So it's where it's like, oh, Kinley just makes this up. This is a Kinley phrase.
You never know.
And then when I rewatched this movie, I was like, oh yeah, that's where you got it
I get it from somewhere.
from. Yeah.
That's so great. But yeah, like if I'm at a sports game or anything and somebody's like, "Boo," that's what goes through my head is that creepy old lady.
That's solid.
Oh man.
I had another quote that I have never picked up on before watching this movie, and I watched it and I thought, that is hilarious. They were in the boat at the beginning, and they were, looking, somebody was, following them. They weren't sure who was, and Inigo says, they're gaining on us. Do you think we're using the same wind? I was like, that was funny. That was
Same
too
wind
good.
you're
I think you're using the same wind. Like, I'd never picked up on that before.
Oh,
That's so
that's
funny.
a good one. Too.
And then when he's
I
like,
can
why
say.
do you keep asking? He's like, well, I happened to look over that way and there was somebody there.
Suddenly, there's
And suddenly there was somebody there.
That was
That's so funny.
It was.
That's so great. So, okay, you're going on your adventure, and you have to face one of the three main trials of these people. Would you choose sword fighting? Would you choose wrestling or a battle of wits over poison?
If you had to partake in one of those,
If you had to participate, which one would you choose?
Is that assuming we already have that skill set, or that we would magically have that skill
I
set?
mean, take it as you
That
will.
would change my answer.
If you were just like thrust into it, never had any training on any
Like
of
right
them.
now.
Right
if,
now.
If
Oh,
we
as
would
you
have
are.
to go.
Yeah, as you are right now.
I couldn't do Battle of Wits because I have not built up my body for the poison. So I would choose the sword fighting.
Okay.
I have no sword fighting skills.
But you have a sword.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you killed a bug with it
Hey,
once.
That's true. I did. For those of you who don't know, I killed a cockroach with a sword, and it was awesome. Anyway, that's another story. So, actually, that's the whole story. The reason why I think I'd be great at the sword fighting, though, is because I grew up pretending with Jim, my brother, lightsaber fights with our toy lightsabers, and I feel like I'm a beast. So.
You were really vicious with the plastic swords that we had. You always like would smash my fingers with those.
So there you go. I can cause harm.
You can do it.
So, yeah.
But you also can like switch from left to right. So I feel like that's to your advantage.
Oh yeah,
can.
that's true. There you
Which
go.
they did, yeah.
Ambidextrous. The end.
Do you have a?
I would do Battle of Wits.
I
Like
knew
I
you
wouldn't
would
have
do
to
that.
handle it that way with the poison, right? I'd win a Battle of Wits. Come on, please.
Or just
Bite
drink
me.
it. Or just drink it and hold it in your mouth, right? Not swallow it.
You
And
could-
then
I wonder if you
Ooh.
could. Do that.
like, or even just like
It's a battle of wits. Be clever.
drink it, but don't open up your lips, because he still drank it too, in that situation. I noticed that.
The goblet is not clear. So
Right. Yeah.
how are
never
they
know.
to know?
So he's kind of an idiot anyway. He drank it.
if you were like real dramatic and maybe like threw it over your shoulder or something,
You know what I would have done?
how would you have won this battle of wits?
I would not have put poison in either of them. I would have drunk, and then when the little weird guy thought he had won, I would have taken the goblet and smacked him upside the head and run off.
When he's tipping it back, you just like plunge him with a sword.
Or sword. Yeah, that's fine. That's the real wit.
That's
I know what I'm doing.
a good Kinley answer. Right?
I like
you.
this loophole. I like it. Solid.
So both. I would take two, sword fighting and wits. Wits for the first part, and then the sword fighting for the second.
Just finish him off.
How about you, Beth?
I like the idea of sword fighting. I just think that would be fun. Granted, I'm like really out of shape, so who knows what would happen.
That
But
was
I'm a very determined soul, so
that was a lot of effort. Like that was a lot of sword fighting effort. And I mean, you would have to be in really good shape. And I think it was funny. He scaled this large mountain.
Yeah.
Took 2 minutes. Like, all right, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
And
I was like,
fought.
I'll wait till you're ready.
but that was, yeah.
What do you think?
My first guess or first answer would probably be the Wits, Battle of Wits as well. But then part of me also thinks maybe I could wrestle the giant as well.
I like it.
I got extra baby weight on me. I feel like
That's
I could
true.
do it.
You could take them.
Pregnancy strength.
Yeah, pregnancy
do it.
strength.
You also have the teacher look. Like, that's very intimidating as well.
Yes.
The teacher look. I like it.
Ashley said she would have died regardless, so she would save everyone some time and surrender.
Ashley, I love that answer. That's so good.
And she thinks there's too many good quotes to choose from on the quotable part too. So,
are.
which is true.
Is she texting you these right
Yes.
live?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know if she had like told you beforehand or
No.
not.
Live feed
Okay.
right here.
Live feed
She
from
wants to be
Ashley.
involved in the answers, so
Very
we're
nice.
getting some answers.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay, I have to say, these rodents of unusual size really bother me. Like, they're so
Right.
gross, and yet they're like puppets. Like, I don't know what's happening.
You
with
know,
this.
there's a person in that. You
Oh,
know, they had
absolutely.
like,
And
which
that's-
like,
About this movie is that there's really no like CGI in it. All of it is
Yeah.
like puppets or props that they've used in the movie, and I'm like, that's what makes it so like real.
It reminds me
Gotcha.
of, I don't know if you remember, Beth, growing up, we watched a version of Peter Pan where they had
Oh, yeah.
the live action and it was like really old, and the crocodile was a person in a costume crawling just like that. That's what it made me think of.
I thought you were going to say Chronicles of Narnia, because we also grew up
That
with...
too.
listen,
That's-
that
yeah.
Reaper Cheap
Yeah.
was in a little mouse outfit.
Oh, man.
You remember that one? And the beavers.
The
Oh, my
beavers,
goodness.
and they had like the little waddly suits.
Oh yeah.
Whenever, like, it's funny how, like, in that time, when we didn't think anything of it. It was like, this is so normal. And then when the newer one came out, I was like, this is terrible. The old one is terrible.
It scares you a little bit.
I mean, it was a little terrifying as a child that like a beaver was the size of a person. I was like, wow. But at the same time, I
It's
loved it.
Narnia. It's a magical land,
Yeah.
Beth. It's okay.
No, I'm just saying, like,
I'm just kidding.
they were a little creepy for
were.
beavers, but I accepted it. I
Well-
loved the movies.
And especially when you think of them being like children in Narnia, and you're like, they're not the same size as us as adults.
That's true.
They're like looking up at a beaver.
That's true.
It's like, oh,
Giant beavers.
giant beavers. Worst nightmare.
But yeah, like that, the rodents of unusual size just really gross me out. I can't handle them.
I was more freaked out watching it this time than I've been ever watching the rodents. I was like, and there was a lot more blood in that scene too than I remember.
He like bites him.
But bit him like in 2 or 3 different
Really?
places, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much blood. I was like,
Oh, I was conscious of that as well. I was like, there's a lot of, he's losing so much blood from this fight.
He barely gets bitten, and then it
Yeah.
turns back to him, and his like whole sleeve is off of his arm, and he's like,
you know, I
covered in blood.
think the air's just really thin in Florin, and that they
Must
just
be.
bleed easily.
Yeah, like
the only
you know, he
logical
never got a
It's an
blood
imaginary land. They
transfusion
could
this
have an
whole
imaginary
time.
climate.
Maybe
so,
they have
yeah.
large amounts, of blood.
But I thought they did it freaked me out, so I thought they did a really good job with it. I mean, for especially
Yeah.
that time, but that's what, it scared me a lot more now than I've ever remembered it scaring me. I was like, that's saying something, so.
Yeah. What was everyone's favorite character?
I would love to have been the Dread Pirate Roberts. Not necessarily Wesley, but I love the story of the Dread Pirate Roberts of like, he's been retired for 15 years and they just pass it on to some random person and like you just get handed down like this huge like legend and
Of course you would.
I know, I like it.
Yes.
Isn't that what they did in
I'm a
like,
pirate at heart.
the Ocean's movies, The Night Fox? Wasn't his name carried down? Or am I thinking of, or do I have that wrong?
In the Ocean's movies?
Yeah, like Ocean's 11 and 12. And, no, I'm thinking of something else. Oh, it was the same guy that did all the things with under a different pseudonym. That's what it
Okay.
was. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just pretend like I didn't say anything and continue.
That's right, you
Sounds
got
good.
there. You got there. You? You got a character?
Favorite character? So Ashley said her favorite character, best character, is Humperdinck, actually. And she said he's dumb and annoying, but, and we talked about this when we watched it, he's not a dumb villain. And like, his smarts are underrated is what she said, and I agree. You don't ever think like, we kept joking because there are moments throughout this that reminded us of Shrek.
Oh,
Like a
yes.
few, quite a
Very
few.
good parallel.
The first
I
one
bet
was
it
that
is.
Humperdinck kind of reminded us of the king, other than being like super, just even in looks a little bit.
Inspiration, perhaps, for
I don't
Shrek?
know. But with that one, you're like, how is this little guy successful at any part during Shrek? He's
Yeah.
so dumb. But you don't think that with Humperdinck, you know? So she said that, which I get. I love Miracle Max. I just love Miracle Max. There you go.
There you go.
That's probably my favorite
So,
character.
if you were to create a miracle, like, what would you flavor it?
What would I
Flavor it.
Not what would it be?
Not what would it do?
What-
What would you flavor
What
it?
flavor is your miracle?
I mean, it's chocolate.
Mine's
maybe.
blackberry.
Strawberry. I like strawberry.
There you
You
go.
inspired me with your berry talk.
There you go.
I'm going for strawberry. Strawberry miracle, baby.
Oh man.
I could just see that being your signature, strawberry miracles.
Yep.
Jennifer, who's your favorite character?
I had a hard time narrowing it down, but I think I settled on Wesley because it was between him and Inigo Montoya because I just love the animation of Inigo, but then at the same time, he is nothing but after revenge and he's drunk part of the time. So I'm like, should I really aspire to be my character? Or Wesley, this valiant guy who's been after his soulmate, like that's been his quest for like the last 5 years is to get back to Buttercup. And just his smarts and strength and ability with steel. So I think Wesley is my favorite.
Solid. My favorite was Inigo Montoya, so
Perfect.
I really like
Yeah.
him as a character.
you know he's after revenge. He's drunk. You know that's.
That's my reason. I'm not saying he's not a good character. I love him.
Oh, I know.
What did you love about him? Just
Oh, I don't
you
know.
have to add to it. You can't just swipe for reasons.
You're right. You're right. I know. Just his humor, just everything he says is just so funny.
He's funny. He's hilarious.
So
I like that he's also a gentleman. Like, you know,
is.
he plays fair, he plays by the rules.
Yeah.
He gives him like a nice reprieve after helping him up over the mountain. you
right.
know?
Yeah.
So about Inigo, something that I found interesting is, and that's one of, in my opinion, the most quotable parts of this movie. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepared to die.
Prepared to die.
You know, how many other
Love it.
TV shows or movies have even quoted that? You know.
Yeah.
But we've always said Inigo Montoya. Everybody else in this movie calls him Inigo. Everybody else. He calls himself Inigo,
That's
but
true.
everybody else pronounces his name Inigo.
Inigo.
They did that. And I
I
was
didn't
like,
notice that either.
what? I never noticed it before this time. I was like, they're
Wow.
saying Inigo. And
Inigo.
I was like, was it just physique? I was like, nope. It kept being other people. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And he says his own name so many times. Why are they not catching
I
on?
know.
I'm helping you out. That's probably why he says it so many times, because people can't get it right.
That's another part of that humor aspect of it that's sprinkled all throughout the movie. If he's the only one calling him by his name and everyone else is a slightly different pronunciation, it's like, here's some more humor, sprinkle it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little
dash.
extra
See if
touch.
you can catch it.
Underrated humor, I would also like to appreciate. And this movie has one of the, the pieces at the end that kind of show the cast and who they're played by. And so I saw this, and then I was looking it up of what the priest is called that marries them, which another is one of my favorite lines.
Marriage.
Do you know what his character's name is?
Is
The
it Yellen?
impressive clergyman.
No,
Yes,
that's his
yes,
name.
it is.
Not just the clergyman, the impressive clergyman. was
I
like,
love
there
his
you
whole
go.
like marriage speech. It's so great.
Wav, wav.
The first, I can recall the very first time I saw this movie. Like, I don't remember when it was, but the first time I saw it, I did not expect that voice to come out of that body. And I mean, that was the joke, but I was just like, it caught me off guard. I was like, what?
That's such a good, like,
It's like in,
whoever decided to do that.
in Pirates of the Caribbean, what's the third one called? At World's End?
At World's End, one of the. Because he never spoke, and he had the little guy that spoke for him.
Yeah.
And he got
And
shot.
he finally opens his voice.
Everybody's like,
Opens his mouth.
I love that one too.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Just
It works,
roll
John.
with
It works.
It does.
It's funny.
Oh, that's so great. So yeah,
Yeah.
That voice was insane. I like the fact that, so you have him with his weird voice, and we're like going through this whole marriage ceremony, and the whole time Prince Humperdinck is like, wrap it up, wrap it up. And then he's like, just man and wife, man and wife. And then later when Buttercup sees Wesley, it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm already married, it's too late. And he's like, did you say yes? If you didn't say yes, you're not married. And it's like, I love that.
I
They
love
also
that it
didn't
was-
sign a marriage license.
No.
No. We're working on it.
Oh man.
I thought it was funny. I was like, Wesley, how do you know that? How did he know that she didn't say I do? He wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
That was the other
But then also, I love how it was like contingent on that one thing. And I was like, he's the prince. He can do whatever he wants. Because he comes in right after. He was like, I'm about to rectify that. I'm about to get her to say I do. I'm like, oh, she going to say I do, and then this is all over. Like, I was like hinging on a little small 2 words, but whatever. Anyway,
It was so funny.
it was.
Oh, I was just thinking about like Wesley and his paralysis. It's like coming undone, and it was just so funny. Like I love when they're like scheming on the wall, and like Physique is having to like shake his head, yes and no.
Yeah.
And then like when he's carrying him down the hallway, and he's like at this weird angle, like kind of using his feet, but
Yeah.
not really. It's just
That's so funny. And I'll tell you what it made me think of. It made me think of in Onward when their dad has the second half, the makeshift second half on top of his
Yes,
body,
and they
and
carry
it
him.
keeps like moving around.
Yeah.
And it made
It's
me
so
think of that.
Wobbling on top, kind of, sort of. It's neat too that they were able to get like Andre the Giant because
Yes.
he's that big he's that tall like he
huge,
actually was
yeah.
carrying him
Yeah.
through all that. That's really fun to
I
think
think
about.
he
so.
died 7 years after that movie came
Yeah,
out.
he died in the 90s.
94.
93.
They released they did a cast reunion a few years ago. I don't know if you ever saw. It was
Yeah.
just it was on it was in a magazine and they had an interview. But anyway,
yeah, entertainment.
they had they had a cast picture and it was all of them. And they had his
A picture with him. I saw
Yeah,
that
they
picture.
had
I didn't get to
It's
see
a good
the
picture.
article.
It's a neat
I thought
one.
it was a sweet photo.
It was sweet. It had all the main cast come back, so
Yeah.
it was good. Something we haven't discussed that was very interesting to me is that this is a story within a story.
Oh yeah.
I was really thinking, I wasn't sure if you were going to say a Miracle Max or if you were going to say the grandpa as your favorite character.
Either one, but I'll be honest. The entire time, Ashley kept saying, "That's you as a grandfather. That's you." As a
It so
grandfather.
is.
That's you.
Yeah.
And then times she was like, "That's you as a kid. That's you as a kid." I was like, "Makes sense."
Solid.
See myself arguing with myself
Oh,
about the
man.
book. So, but yeah, I know this is based on a book. Has anyone read that book?
I have, yes.
I don't
So
imagine.
the book came before the movie?
Yes.
Okay. We were wondering that.
I don't imagine that the grandfather and the grandson are part of the book. I imagine the book is just the Princess Bride story. Is that correct?
No.
The grandfather and the grandson are a part of it?
Yeah, the book itself is a story within a story. I don't,
Okay.
Interesting.
it's not,
That's interesting.
like
I
there's
read the
some
book
more
yet.
characters outside of the world of Princess Bride, but yeah, it is still a story within a story. The sarcasm is like through the roof. It's so great.
I'm gonna have to read it. I was wondering about that because I wasn't sure if that was just a decision they made for the movie or if it was actually in the
If
book.
it wasn't part of the book, I was going to say I really loved how they did that.
I did too. I thought
to
it was
incorporate
neat.
it because some people are like, "Oh, this is a movie about this book." Instead, they're like, "Oh, grandfather, grandson, let's talk about this book," and then there's a movie. Like, I don't, whoever thought of that to write that in the book, even I think is like.
It just
really-
added, just enough. It's not. Would we still love it as much without the part? There's like it would still be well known, I think.
Yeah.
But it just makes makes the story personal by adding that real life story in there, and that this story kind of impacts their relationship. Just it alleviates the distractions of the day, and gets them to focus on something together. And by the end of it, the little boy's to a place where he must do it again.
Yeah.
So that's really sweet.
It is cute. I also like the fact that by starting the movie off that way, they are like giving you permission to laugh. Because like if you had just gone straight into the Princess Bride, you would not have like known how to receive it per se, but it's like, okay, when we're starting this and the little kid keeps interrupting and asking questions and like, oh, they're kissing and blah, blah, blah. So you're like, okay, like I have permission to laugh and this is going to be ridiculous and that's how it should be received and that's great.
Yeah, it added a lot of humor
Yeah.
through that too. And the grandfather was like, "You want me to tell the story or not? Shut up." You know? Perfect.
The novel was written by William Goldman in 1973. So just to update everyone on that.
So they made the
Fun
movie
fact.
14 years
And
after.
maybe he's related to us, Beth.
It could be.
Our mother's maiden name was Goldman.
Back
It's
in
also
the day.
very common, so who knows?
Probably a relative.
Yeah, probably.
Most likely.
We're probably filthy rich and don't know it yet.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Soon.
Still waiting on it. One thing that Jennifer and I were discussing earlier was how Wesley as, what's the pirate's name?
Pirate Roberts.
Pirate, the Dreadful.
The Dread.
Dread Pirate
Dread Pirate Roberts.
Roberts.
Not Dreadful. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Dread Pirate Roberts, how they talked about he inherited the boat as well. And then like in the movie, he's just on this tiny little dinghy. But Jennifer says that that's probably just a dinghy and he still has his ship somewhere.
Yeah.
John
I
was
didn't-
like, that's not a
I was like,
massive
that,
boat.
yeah, I was like, what? Yeah.
I'm sure he's got a whole crew too
Oh, yeah.
on the boat.
Yeah.
We were laughing about that because Ashley's like, well, I guess he's just gonna leave his boat down there. I was like,
And I love when they, when the first crew gets on the cliff, and Jennifer even said, she's like,
Shot
"Where's
back.
their boat?"
And
It's
I
like-
didn't realize, I hadn't noticed before the boat that they were on had just kind of drifted
It just
off. I
like,
was
they didn't anchor it or anything. It's just like,
guess
Did
didn't
they
need
tie it down? I guess they
Yeah.
didn't tie it down.
let's just
That's
go
so
on.
great.
That was another funny cliff moment when you see Physique like climbing with him all strapped. He's booking it.
Yes.
And then it shows
he's
like
not
the
using his
zoom
legs,
in and he's
and
like, you know, it was a lot slower there. But he wasn't using his legs at all. I'm like, he's just
Legs at all.
bare-handing, you know,
But he's
strength just.
Huge.
I love, like, Vizzini was like, move faster. And he's like, I'm carrying 3 people.
He's by himself.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Oh my goodness, this movie.
Something else I realized just about characters, Prince Humperdinck is played by Chris Sarandon, who is married to Susan Sarandon, well-known Hollywood actress. So they're not married anymore.
What is something
but,
she was in?
a lot of random things.
Nice.
Just saying.
Oh, what a fact. No.
She was in Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, she's a well-known actress, yes.
Okay, cool.
Villain in Enchanted.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's a good movie too. When did that come out? That's probably around the same time, wasn't it?
Enchanted?
No.
No. Enchanted came out 10 years ago, maybe?
Oh, did it?
It's.
For some reason, I thought it was
I think
older.
it was early 2000s.
But not even that long.
2007.
2007.
Okay,
20 years.
was Enchanted. Oh, that's not the movie I was thinking of. I'm thinking of
Thinking
something
of Ella
else.
Enchanted? Or
No,
No.
not that one, but I do like that one too. I don't know what I'm thinking of. Y'all ignore me once again.
I wanna know what
Rabbit
you're
Trails
thinking.
of John. I like it.
My laptop keeps giving me ads for baby monitors
Aww.
because I've been researching.
Gotta keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
No escaping.
So, question. When you think about when you first watched this movie, for me, I don't know the answer to this because I don't remember. But when you first see the man in black, do you know that it's Wesley? I would assume that I would have known that because it was very obvious that it was him, in my opinion. But I don't remember. Do you remember if you knew it was him?
I
or if it
don't
was a
remember, to be
surprise?
honest.
I don't think so because I was young when I watched it, but also his mannerisms changed completely because when he was farm boy, he was just very, like, whatever you say,
And
as
quiet.
you wish. Very quiet. And he comes back as the Dread Pirate Roberts and he's like super sassy.
Yeah.
And he's like really confident and he's kind of like taking charge now instead of just being in the background. And so I don't know that I made that connection immediately. But I can't remember. It's been so long.
Man. It's been a long time since I first watched it, and I don't think I watched it I think it was a while before I watched it all at once. I think I saw a bunch of bits and pieces, so I kind of knew. I think I watched and I didn't watch the first part before I had the reveal. So when I saw him in the first part, I was like, that's him. You know what I mean? I think it was one of those, but I don't remember. You
Yeah.
may remember?
I don't.
I mean, because you see him like kind of from a distance for a while, and then when he gets to the first duel, like the fencing match, I think that was probably when I made that connection because that was when we first interacted with him. Because then it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I did this just unrelated to that completely, but just a fun memory of this movie growing up was before I actually sat down and watched it. I knew that my dad really liked this movie, and I thought it was so odd that my dad liked a movie called Princess Bride, and I was like, "Why? Why does he watch that? That's so stupid." And I think that's why it took me a while to come around to watch it myself, was because I just thought it was some chick flick, like an old chick flick, and I was like, "I do not want to watch this." And then I think maybe he was watching part of it and I saw part of it. And so then I went back and watched the whole thing and I was like, oh, it's not what I thought it was.
It's a movie full of sword fighting.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da.
I was literally the little boy at the beginning of the... Max, is that his name?
It's just the
His
grandson.
grandson, I don't think.
Oh.
And the grandfather.
I just named him
Max
Max.
is,
Miracle Max.
It was literally
Oh,
you
yeah, that's why. never mind.
hesitant, and then you got to the end, you're like, let's watch it again.
Yeah. So
I like that. That's cool.
I judged a movie by its title, and I should not have.
Well, a lot of people
Sometimes
think...
it's okay to do that, though.
Sometimes it is. And of course, we know a lot of people think it's the Prince's Bride, you know, instead of the princess. And the more I've thought of, I was very defensive of that for a while. It's like, it's not the Princess Bride, it's the Princess Bride. Get it right. But the more I've thought about it, I'm like, the Princess Bride makes more sense. She's not a princess until she gets married. So the title technically is a little
And he was king
wrong.
before they got married, so then...
No,
right?
the king
No.
didn't die.
Oh,
That was in a
that's right.
dream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
Dream.
Prince.
That's right.
Yeah, they call her Princess Buttercup on several occasions, and
But
it's
she's
like,
not a
I'm like,
princess.
you're not a princess yet.
So it would make more sense for it to be
But
the
maybe they
princess.
gave her an honorary
Bride.
title so that she could be worthy enough to marry him.
He might have brought her up. I love it when he announced it. He's like, I'm going to marry someone common just like you.
Yeah.
Those poor little people. Riot, get out of here.
Oh, man. She's common, but not anymore.
I thought that was so funny because it's like, you know, normally people are like trying to like cover up lineage that isn't appropriate
Yeah,
for
he's
a
just
king, and he's
open
like,
about it.
she's common, just like you.
I guess you can be open about it when you're planning to murder her.
It's so offensive, too, to her. Just like,
I know.
she's just a commoner.
I want to marry you even though you're common.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
What a proposal.
What'd she say?
She said, he said to me. I did not. I didn't say that to Ashley.
Oh, man.
Whatever.
So crazy.
I did. Something we talked about watching this movie at the beginning when Wesley leaves and she hears he's probably dead because the Dread Pirate Robert. She says, "I'll never love again." And we're like, I said, "That's what you said about me when I originally said no to your advancements." And Ashley said, "Yes, yes, it is." So, and now we're getting married.
How
So it's
about
come full
that?
circle. Anyway, there you go.
True love.
True love. Marriage. It's appropriate to watch this week.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Kinley, do you have any last words before you get married?
As a bachelor.
Is Ashley plotting something against Kinley that we don't know about? The
No,
way he said that.
He didn't finish that. He meant last words as a bachelor.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
I got you.
I have no last words.
As a bachelor.
I don't know. I have no last words as a bachelor, no last
That's
words
words.
in any other context.
Because you're
There
going
you
to
go.
live forever.
'Cause I'm going to live forever. That's a quote. That's a good quote. Anyway, no, we're very excited. Thank you all for your love and support. If you love and support us, and if you don't, you should. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You can find his registry online.
You good.
What a
could definitely do
plug.
that.
What a plug.
All right. So shall we review this puppy?
Yes.
We shall.
All right. Ashley had a 7.5 for this movie.
Okay.
I actually gave this movie an 8. I really love this movie. I really love this movie.
Solid. I gave it a 6.
Above the
Solid
5.
6, above the 5 threshold. Very nice.
High praise.
High
High
praise.
Praise.
I gave it an 8.5.
Ooh, 8.5.
Yeah. Jennifer, what is your rating?
10.
It's a 10.
Jennifer's 10,
So it's a true 10
is
for
my
you.
10.
I like
Oh,
it.
man.
which gives this movie an overall crew rating of 8.
Yay!
Wow, is that the
That's so
first one that
funny.
we've had that's like on the dot? A full number?
I think
Not
the closest we've gotten, I think, was a 0.5. We got an exact 0.5, but I think this is the first just whole number we've
solid 8.
I think
Solid
Rotten
eight.
Tomatoes had given it an 8.1,
Did
so
it?
that's so funny that ours was like
had.
an
Hey,
8.
right on. Let's see what.
I saw it somewhere.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, good.
Anyways.
Says.
I'm excited about that one.
So, you're next. Is that right?
I guess so.
You're next, John.
We can decide that now. Okay, it's me.
It's you.
No, they gave it a 97.
I saw it at 8.1 somewhere.
That's IMDb gave it.
Oh,
8.1.
IMDb gave it 8.1.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes, 97.
somewhere.
Audience score, 94.
Such
It's not often that
I am not
Rotten
wrong
Tomatoes
saying
is higher
that
than
this
the
is a good
audience.
movie.
That's right.
So,
That's
how
good.
about
This
that?
is a good movie.
It's a solid movie.
If you haven't seen this movie, you
who
really
are
need to see
who
this
are
movie.
you?
You can come watch it with me.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched
It's
it in
not
a
great.
while, go back and rewatch it.
It's worth it. It's on Disney Plus. We did
is.
not
Yeah,
realize
we
that
found
until
that.
this week.
We
We could have
figured that
told you that.
We were like, we own the DVD, Beth owns the DVD. Do Kinley and Ashley own it? I don't know.
figure it out.
And then we were like, oh, it's on Disney Plus. We're good.
It's on Disney
So,
Plus, so you
Solid.
can go watch it right now.
Yes.
Yeah. No excuses.
It's worth it.
If you don't have Disney Plus, also, who
Where
are
have
you?
been?
And it's only an hour and a half. It's like an hour and 38 minutes.
30
Yeah.
minutes, yeah.
So
It's
really
a nice,
easy to watch.
easy watch, yeah.
1987.
And it keeps your attention the whole time. That's what I like.
It does.
Yeah. Anyway, so my film that I love so much is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. So go watch that, and we're going to review it.
I have a secret.
Have you never?
You, Walter
I knew
Mitty?
you. I've never seen that movie.
You've never
Oh,
watched
really?
it? Oh, it's
She
so
hasn't-
good.
My wife hasn't seen it either, so we'll change that.
It's a good movie.
Do we even own it?
Yeah.
Oh. We also own like 100 other movies, so that's not.
More than 100. A lot of movies.
Yeah.
We like movies.
We do.
We should start a podcast about reviewing movies.
Oh my
We
goodness.
should.
That'd be
We
great.
could call it Review by the Crew.
I think that one's taken.
Well, we'll just do this in the meantime. It's
Yeah,
fine.
anyway. All right, so let's see. Who wants to end it?
Jennifer.
Jennifer,
it's
take
your
it.
Oh, that's
movie.
right. It's your
It's
movie.
my movie.
It's your movie.
Okay. Until next time, we go big tonight.
Bye.